Hello and welcome to the
Hey.
second episode of Review Everything. It might be the first episode you're listening to, either because we didn't put the first episode out because it was pretty rough, or because you're just jumping in here. And if you are jumping in here, I'll introduce us first, and then I'll tell you what this podcast is. I am Ashton McCauley. I'm an amateur author and a data scientist. And so I like numbers, and I like talking about things a lot. And this is Connor Dunleavy.
I'm going to go with Connor from work for the time being. So I'm Connor from work. I'm a
This is
50-year-old.
Connor from work.
I'm a 55-year-old ship crash survivor who found it difficult to return to the corporate life, and I now make erotic film for a living.
Yeah, I've seen some of them. It's really tasteful too, and I enjoy that about it. I don't think I've ever asked you this, but this feels like the appropriate venue. What kind of ship crash, or did you say chip crash? Like the chips market crashed, or like you were in an actual ship crash?
Wait, do you know what blue chips are? Because I don't actually know. I know there's an old basketball movie, and I assumed it was basketball related, but I think it's money related.
You know, like blue chip stocks, blue chippers.
I know what those are for sure. The important part to take away from this is I was voted in the top 5 PILFs of 2024.
PILFs.
Mm-hmm.
Parents?
Pop-pops.
Pop-pops I'd like to fuck. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
Pop-pops I'd like to fuck, yeah.
Another type of blue chip, by the way, blue corn tortilla chips. They're delicious. Maybe I'll bring those in one of these days, talk about them.
I honestly only ever eat blue
find
ones.
our 10 spot.
Mm.
So this is a podcast where we take items from across the limitless spectrum of human existence and assign them a number value. Because there's one thing we know in life, it's that everything is better when you add a number to it. And you can tell people this thing is a 5, this thing is a 1. Because how else would we know if things are good or not? And I believe, Connor, you had an idea of how to start us off today.
You think I'm a 5?
Look, I'll rate you however you want. But I think if we're being honest with ourselves, both solid 7s. I've actually gotten in trouble
You're
for
not
this.
wrong. You're not wrong.
So somebody asked me when I first met them, it was somebody in my wife's family. They're like, will you rate your wife on a scale of 1 to 10? And apparently the correct answer was 10. But because I am like a data scientist, I was like very honest with my answer.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think we're both like 7s, 7.5s. Like if anything, I'm reaching for sure. Which that's the right answer too, but like they did not like that I put us both at 7s. They're like, well, she's a 10. I was like, no, but that's not true though, because we know there are 10s in the world that like live on a different plane than we do, and
this was just looks. It was just looks.
Yeah.
I like your answer. I think my my ass would answer in a very similar way. Like it feels. In fact, I've already metagamed it. Saying 10 is ridiculous. Like.
Yeah, it's
that doesn't like give you any information. Like giving someone a compliment of like, hey, you round up to an 8. My biggest fear is that you make that joke that we're both 7s and someone laughs because we're 5s. That's my biggest fear in life.
Look, hey, nobody can comment on this. We haven't put any episodes out yet.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm a 6.
We're gonna get roasted in the comments and be like, yeah, a bunch of 5s doing a podcast together.
I'm a sad 6.
I feel like actually like a 6 or a 7, that's the perfect range you want to be in to do a podcast.
For sure.
If the McElroy brothers, and I won't put a rating on them because I put respect on their name. If they can have a successful podcast
4 and 5,
time,
2, 4 and 5.
Which one's the 5? Is it? It's
Justin
not
for sure. It's Justin.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Justin's cool. He's grown into his body. It took him 46 years, and we can cut all of this, but he's grown into it.
Cutting none of this. This is important. This is important content.
Sorry, Griffin.
Look, one time I shouldn't turn into a podcast about rating people. I feel like as two like middle-aged men, well, and older men, 54. You're getting close to the seniors menu. We should probably not rate people. That feels like a bad vibe. But you did ask me before the podcast if we could rate how our day was going.
Yeah,
on a scale of 1 to 5.
So I like to do this with my team members back when I was at Target, and I found that it was very helpful.
Corporate or Target retail?
Retail.
Okay. Yeah, obviously. Sorry.
Technically, it was actually kind of a middle company with Starbucks. It was strange, but
I used to steal from Target a lot. I love that store.
I thought it was helpful to understand where someone's coming from without any context. So you don't have to tell me why. Like 1 being bad, I'm doing bad. It doesn't have to be because of life or work, whatever. 5 being excellent. It's just helpful for me to know that because I know what energy to bring to you if you're a 2 and I'm a 4, right? And so I'm feeling pretty solid. I'm doing a goofy podcast with my friend Ashton. I'm Connor from work, and I I'm going to say I'm a 4, which I don't say very often. And so,
Pretty good.
yeah,
That is
man.
pretty good.
How are you? Hoping for 1.
Well, so here's the interesting thing, right? I do want to like, I know what my 1 is. If 1 is the worst day of my life, easy
Okay.
peasy. Have a tattoo about it. It's very easy to get that end of the spectrum. 5, two items come to mind. Costa Rica, eating a pizza while watching a thunderstorm with my wife on our honeymoon. That's a 5. And also getting drunk on a pirate ship in the Bahamas and then not remembering going snorkeling. That's also a 5. That was my 23rd birthday. Wonderful. So that's a 1 and a 5. I'd say I was at a 2 earlier today. I think doing this podcast has put me up to a 3.5. I feel pretty solid right now. Maybe getting into 4 territory. Tonight's Survivor night, baby. Anything can happen. That does bring me right up.
You can't do decimals, then it's not a scale of 5.
You didn't say I couldn't do decimals. You didn't say it had to be a whole number scale.
So it is, just for the next time. I have one of those too. If I had to say one 5 moment in my life, I have one. And we had just done, this sounds super white and privileged, but it was so fun. We had just done like a 3-day backpacking trip. We were in the early 20s in New Zealand. We didn't have any shit. And so we ate canned food for 3 nights. We were cold. We got attacked by raccoons in the middle of the night.
New Zealand has raccoons?
Yeah. I almost had a heat stroke. But when we were done, we got back to the hostel, and the hostel was amazing. It had a pool, and we got Thai food. They brought a Thai truck there. This was like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And we were in a group with 2 other people in a room, and I was reading a book, and it was just amazing. And I had my Thai food, and I had a beer, and I drifted off to sleep. And Sarah was in the bunk below me. It was cool. That was my 5.
That does sound rad.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like that's given us sort of a good segue into like every week. What we do here, right, is we rate items. We each bring 2, and then we argue about them and decide on a ranking. We put them in a spreadsheet, and with the idea being that after 100 years of podcasting, which I think is doable, we'll have this perfect document that tells us where everything in the limitless spectrum of existence is ranked. And every week we choose a theme. Last week we chose randomly, and it was things I found in my backyard. Before we get into the first item, how are you feeling about your ratings from last week? How are you feeling about how that went?
I thought a lot about it. I made a couple decisions for my own. So I like to think of things as rubrics. And so I'm going to try to come at each thing and put a rubric around it. And so then I can start to do like things, which is maybe orthogonal to this podcast. What a cool word, huh? Orthogonal? Because I don't even know what it means. So my big learning was I averaged things last time, which didn't make any fucking sense, especially for 2 white boys.
You did a lot of math. You did a lot of math.
No. But averaging was dumb. That's a dumb way to do it because I wasn't even very purposeful about the number of categories I had. And so my main takeaway is I'm going to put it in categories, but then I'm going to give a total that is just my heart.
I think that, well, it's funny. I had a takeaway, but now I'm coming back around on it. That I think that my rating system is a great counterbalance because I write nothing out beforehand and I just go purely based on vibes and what I feel in the moment. And I generate categories on the fly as well. And I like not having a plan because it leads to honest rankings. Like we put the Big Trouble in Little China at a 7.5. It's currently our highest rated item, specifically the unopened DVD box. And I should note that this weekend I did go and open that box.
Yeah.
Sorry, Blu-ray, not DVD. That's important to the ranking too.
Laserdisc.
So I did. I went and watched it, and it's a film. It's a 3.5 out of 5 for me, for sure.
It's a 7 out of 10.
I enjoyed it myself, but it wasn't great. I might go back to it eventually.
What was the best thing that happened that truly surprised you as like, this is cool, this is fun, it's not problematic? And then what was the most problematic thing? It could still be fun, but I wanted to separate that out because I was afraid your most fun thing was probably problematic, and I want to hear both.
It's not. My most fun thing is that there is randomly an ancient forest in the sewer under Chinatown, complete with a hairy monster that is like this big costume where none of it moves, like none of the face moves, so they just put roars on it, and it's this static like monster face that's chasing people, and they do like a Scooby-Doo scene where it chases them one way and like you can't see where they go, and then they come back and they're chasing the other way. It's like just absurd. And
do you know, I'm sure there's a how was this made or whatever, like what was the expectation of people when this movie came out? Were those like bomb effects? And everyone
it was
like,
John Carpenter, so like people had to like John Carpenter again made The Thing, made Halloween, like very
But those
famous
are all pretty
for.
campy. So like, is this kind of quasi campy to begin with?
Back in the day, The Thing wasn't campy. The Thing was like
The Thing.
bleeding edge. Like The Thing was
Yeah.
really good, and like I think this is the same because it's all practical effects. Well, when it's not, it's like because they're shooting lightning and shit out of their hands. Like Raiden's in
I've
this.
never seen this movie. I don't know. I'll go watch
It's
it.
wild.
I'll watch it.
Anyway, so that was my favorite, the thing that surprised me that I really enjoyed. And then the most problematic thing is probably just this idea that's like, oh yeah, like everybody who's Asian knows kung fu, and like if you go to Chinatown, you never know what's gonna happen.
Dude, that's always been my experience though. Like I don't.
You know, I can't say I've ever been to. Well, I have been to Chinatown, but not in a long time.
Have you been to a real Chinatown? Like not in Seattle, but
Well, yeah, I go through Seattle's Chinatown all the time to get to my favorite bar, Flat Stick Pub. Shout out. But anyways, yeah, I'd been to San Francisco, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, so this week's items, things I found in my yard. Would you like to go first or second this week? I think you went first last week.
No, I asked you to go first.
That's
last
right,
week,
you
so
did make me
I'll
go
go first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my first item, I thought a lot about my yard, and there's cool things in my yard, but I feel like I went a little hard on the TB stuff last time, and everything that was in my yard was going to turn into a lesson on like something. And so for my first one, I went in a different direction. And so this is a life experience I found in the fucking schoolyard, the mean streets of Taylor Middle School in Warrenton. No, now this can't not Connor from work. This is like I'm doxing myself. The
You
mean
are
streets
doxing
of middle
yourself.
school in Southern Virginia. And that life experience that I found in the yard was getting my ass beat for the first time, the only primary time. And yeah, so I've thought about this experience a lot since it happened, whatever, years ago. And it is probably instrumental in my life. And especially looking back, I feel like there's a lot of good lessons. So my first category is learnings. Easy 10 out of a 10. Easy 10 out of 10. I think the great and the mighty George Foreman once said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in your teats. And
he specifically said teats.
I had little middle school teats, and I did not have a plan, and I ran my mouth off, and someone was having a bad day, someone that honestly had a way harder life than I did, and was, for all intents and purposes, I think a pretty cool dude. And I said something dumb, and I got my head walloped by a big, big boy. And so from a learning experience, that has popped up a lot. So 10 out of 10. The only thing I'd say is I do have some concern that 10 has waned in the intervening time, and that it's going to happen again, and I think in some ways it needs to. So that's that one. My second category for life experiences is, I think generally you would want a life experience to be pleasurable. This was not pleasurable. It hurt a lot. So I'm going to give it a 1. I got walloped. There was a lot of hammer action, like I was being driven into a railroad.
How long was this fight from start to finish?
I don't know. I don't remember it.
If you asked, did you get knocked out?
I might have. I don't remember.
Did you have like 30 seconds, a minute?
It was probably, yeah, in that range.
Okay.
He was a big boy. I was not a small boy, and so it took a while for people to get there.
Boy.
My now wife, actually, that was the first memory she has of me, is
You
watching
your
me
ass
get
beat?
beat up. Yeah.
Wow, that actually might give this a higher ranking.
No, that gets a 1. Street cred. What do you think? What do you think I'm giving street cred 1 out of 10?
It's tough because I can see the number in front of me because I
Yeah.
peeked, and so I know your answer.
Yeah.
Instead, I will give my answer
Okay.
of what this does for your street cred. Like, was it a cool ass beating? Like, or was it like a? And I say this having taken some non cool ass beatings in my life. Was this a like blubber and cry ass beating?
No,
where you were dragged away.
No, apparently I fought back, and we were both dragged away.
So you got some punches in.
I do. He had stuff on his face. I don't remember it. I said I didn't do it, and they said that's not true.
Interesting. So I'm gonna give street cred has to be at least like a 3 or a 4 then, because like you got some wallops in.
A fucking 1. Are you kidding
1.
me?
All right.
No one thought I was cool for that. They all loved him. I had just
actually,
moved to town, and they're like, "Hey."
Do you want to say what you said? What did you say at the start of this fight?
I honestly don't remember, but all I know is
it was not cool.
it wasn't that bad. I said something sarcastic, which is weird for me, and
Because you're usually so genuine. You know?
yeah, and I was the only kid with chest hair in middle school, so it was easy for that to pass over me. So yeah, but My overall score for my first item: learning's 10, enjoyable 1, street cred 1, overall 9.
Wow. Wow, that's okay. Interesting. So the life experience of first, we'll call it first ass beating.
Mhm.
It's interesting. So I similarly, middle school, stepped to somebody who was having a bad day, said something dumb, had no skills whatsoever in a fight, did not land a single punch, like
Oh,
got the shit kicked out of me, deservedly, I think. Oh man,
do you know what you said?
yeah, I do.
You do
I
know what
made
you
fun of
said.
somebody for being short.
Short kings are
Yeah,
no
I know.
man.
I know.
Fun.
And look, I'm tall now. I wasn't tall then. I also was like, I was in like no position to be throwing stones about fucking anything. And I was like just trying to find somebody who's lower on the food chain, and I was an asshole. So like I absolutely deserved the ass whooping I got there. Sorry, Dex.
Shepherd.
Yeah, Dax
Okay,
Shepard.
okay.
We
We'll
mentioned
get him on the pod
podcast.
later. Yeah, we'll get him on the pod later.
Dax Shepard beat my ass. No, I actually think the first ass beating deserves a pretty high rating. I'm gonna argue you down to an 8.
You just
and
got
see if you agree.
played, motherfucker. It's your turn. It's your
See,
turn.
If you agree with me,
Yeah.
like yes, 10 out of 10 for learning experience, but like very painful. And just like I don't know if we want this to be the high end of the scale. It's definitely better than a Blu-ray of Big Trouble in Little China. I'll tell you that much.
Hey, this is your time. Are you arguing an 8? Are you arguing lower? What are we doing?
I'm arguing an 8. Yeah, I think it deserves an 8. Dope. All right, sick. So the new high of our scale is now, let me just insert this into the sheet here. We have a score of 8, and it is, we'll call it first schoolyard ass beating.
Do we want to combine ours? Does that feel good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Like it's a relatable experience that everybody, and I'm just gonna say like lesson learned, faded with time, pain in the notes. That's good. That's a strong opener, Connor. Well done.
Thank you.
I really like that one. All right.
What do you got for me?
So I have a PowerPoint presentation.
You didn't say it.
Hold on. You know
You're such a fucking tryhard. Come on.
well, look,
You're making me look like a dillweed over here, man. I didn't have PowerPoint.
I'm sorry. Let me share my screen. And this is a learning I had from last week too, is that this might cause Riverside to crash, and that's fine. We'll just go with it. So what we're looking at here on the right is Frank the potato plant. So named because he looks like Danny DeVito. The one on the left is Sweet D. We're not talking about her today. We're talking about Frank. And I have some documentation of just what Frank has looked like throughout his journey. This is him getting his first shoots.
Just real quick, Sweet D is some sort of sweet potato or yam, and
it's a white
Frank's a russet.
Hmm?
Is Frank a russet?
Yeah, Frank's a russet.
Okay,
and Frank is just a potato I got around Christmas. So he's a Christmas potato for one, which is I think probably rates him pretty highly. But he's a Christmas potato that had too many eyes when I got him from QFC. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to put this in a jar. If we go back, you can see I just put it in a jar with some toothpicks and let it grow. And it is actually kind of terrifying to watch this happen and just watch all the roots come out. But this is him getting his first dirt pot with all of his beautiful shoots. And then this is him today in the garden. He's absolutely thriving in this big pot.
Is that all his shoots?
Yeah, that's all Frank.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so potatoes, like when you plant them, you just keep piling more dirt on top of them as they grow. And then the potatoes just sort of like magically appear on the ground. And the reason he's in a big pot is because my friend Lauren told me it's easier to harvest potatoes when they're in a pot because you could just dump the whole pot over.
Yeah.
And then there's potatoes rather than having to like dig them out of the ground.
Wait, real quick. So, and this is only because I've reluctantly taken part in potato growing in our own garden, which I think is, hey, this seems fun for you. Frank seems like a friend. I love that. But the way that we did it was we planted potatoes and then we had to wait like 6 months for something that cost 30 cents. But I always thought, like, when it comes to a garden, for me, it's all about ROI. I'm planting those veggies that are expensive, mostly lettuces. The question I have is it important to add the dirt such that the potato is actually kind of growing from the middle of the stalk as opposed to the very bottom? Is that what you're doing?
I don't know.
Okay. You don't know shit about potatoes.
I haven't researched potatoes very much other than you pile dirt on and then eventually you have potatoes. Here's how I'm thinking about my potato-based experience. One, I wanted something green in my office. Just to have in the cold winter months and to show me that things still grow even in the dead of winter. So I had Frank in that jar all through December, January, February. and then he got in a plant or in a pot last month in March. But Frank the potato, also, I accidentally potted him in outdoor soil, which made my entire office smell like manure. So I'm gonna say that brings it a little lower. Frank was also only cost like 80 cents, and I think he's beautiful for 80 cents. He's a good looking potato, and he's going to theoretically bring me joy, but it's the promise of joy, so I can't say for sure. And for that reason, I think like Frank the potato plant, watching his journey has filled me with joy. So for me, Frank the potato, I think is like a 7.
Tell me if he became sentient. The next time you go over to that bucket, it's a sunny day, you look at it and he pops his little head up and you see some eyes and then a little bit further in the mouth and he says, Ashton, tell me what you love most about me. It can only be one. Make it right. What would it be?
Oh, what I love most about Frank is how low maintenance he is. He's beautiful and low maintenance. He's a trophy plant, you know? He's just pretty to have in the background. People are like, oh, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's my potato, Frank. No big deal.
Okay, I have a new number in my head. I have one other question.
Well, sorry, one other thing that the reason why this ranks at a 7 for me, I don't know if you've ever watched a potato grow, but it's fucking disgusting and weird. Like the little tendrils and shoots that come out of the bottom of it, it looks weird.
All plant propagation honestly makes me feel gross when I see it.
Yeah, it's weird. Plants are funky, man. The fact that a potato just grows from a potato feels like a snake eating its own tail.
It's smart though, man. I wish I could grow from myself.
Me too. I wish like somebody could just stick my ass in the ground and then like 9 months later, like pull me out and there's a baby that comes out of the dirt.
I know at least 2 of our friends who would do that. Okay, I have a new number. I have one other question for you. It's a 2-parter.
Yes. Okay.
I have a blank checkbook. Checkbooks aren't a thing. I have a lot of money in Venmo.
Okay.
That I can transfer from my bank. I am giving you an indecent proposal. I want Frank more than anything else on this earth. And what I want to do with him is indecent. I promise you, it is indecent. But as a part of the proposal, you don't get to know.
So I don't get to know what happens to Frank. I just get to name a number.
How much would it take to let me do what I want to do with Frank? And then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with him.
This is really hard. I'm kind of attached to Frank. It feels like a person, despite
I hope so. You brought it into our very important podcast.
Oh. So I'm going to say $500. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
That's the cost of a Nintendo Switch 2, baby. And if I got a Nintendo Switch 2 out of indecent proposaling my favorite potato plant, it was worth it.
Would you take $450 for the console and no bundle to let me do whatever I want to Frank?
Yeah.
Okay. This is what I'm going to do to him. I'm going to do a crunchy potato tartine. Do you know what that is? I hope I said that right. I think I did. So what we're going to do is we are going to first cut him unnecessarily into a very standard shape such that we can get very thin square slices. So we've removed a lot of material. For Frank, it's going nowhere. Compost. If we had a restaurant, we could probably use it for somewhere else, but we're not using it. I'm throwing that out. So now Frank's a little square. I am going to slice him paper thin. Let's say we can get 100 little wafers from him.
Real quick, I want to point out, you don't want to eat Frank. Like,
I do. This is indecent. This is an indecent proposal.
Frank is disgusting at this point. The new potatoes under him are good, but Frank is a potato that's been alive for 4 months at this point in water.
Let me finish. Okay. So we cut him into 100 wafers, and we put him into a little square. Oh, no. We get clarified butter ghee, and we put all those slices in a bowl, and we kind of mix it together. And then we take each piece delicately, and we layer it into a small square. I bought something purposeful for him because that's how indecent this proposal is. There's no other potatoes. It is just Frank that I'm doing this with, which isn't normal. And so then you compress it. You add another one on top. You chill blast it. You bring it out. You cut it into squares, almost like it is now puff pastry. And then we take that one little square, and then we deep fry it. And it turns into a perfect kind of fucking fancy tater tot. And I bite him.
That sounds pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah. So that's what I do with him.
Yeah, I stand by it. $450, I'd drive Frank to you. I'd even buy you the knife.
All right, I was going to push back on that number, but I feel like your answer showed me how much you cared for him and also kind of made me feel good about caring for him, too, in his own way. So,
yeah, well, it's funny because my answer actually makes me want to bring him down a little bit. I don't care about Frank that much. And like, if he's worth... So really, I'm rating the value of a Nintendo Switch Well, actually, you know what? Okay, a potato being worth the same value as a Nintendo Switch 2, that's a valuable potato. Seven is still my ranking.
Now I want to fight you that we're not ranking anything other than Nintendo, and that we have to table Frank, and that's not what we just did.
Okay, all right. What's your ranking for Frank?
What was your OG ranking? I'm okay with a 7. He seems dope as hell, and I want to eat that little boy after I do all that work.
We're putting Frank the potato at a 7. So Frank the potato. We can follow up in the fall, and I can tell you how much yield I got from him. So I'm just going to put in the notes, worth as much as a Nintendo Switch 2.
Would you be interested in getting together and doing a little thing to Frank? Just me and you? Like doing that thing? Like making that...
For Harvest?
For Tartine? No, like we would do that whole process together.
Yeah, but not to Frank because that's disgusting. But like to Frank's offspring, absolutely. If you're curious, Frank the Potato is now in 3rd, right above the TB book.
Ooh.
Yeah. What's your second item?
So my next item is a future item. And so I'm going to categorize this as hobbies. Specifically for Connor from work, this is a future hobby that I like to think about to get dopamine. And that is thinking about teaching one of my dumb little dogs how to find truffles. So I'll pause for a moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How old are your dogs?
I'm only going to talk about the one today. I already talked about the other one.
How old is this dog?
This one has an age. I think it's 2.
It's 2?
We don't know how old these dogs are until we cut their legs open and see how many rings there are, man.
That's a good point. Okay. All right. So young dog can learn new tricks.
So this is how I thought about it. My categories are, for me, system learning, reward, and frustration. The first one, system learning. And so I get to learn a new thing. And so I've done a lot of research and ChatGPT talking and a whole bunch of things to learn about truffles and how you do about a truffle dog. And I learned it all, and it didn't take that long. And so I'm actually going to give system learning, which is one of my favorite things in the world, a 4, because I wish there was more to it. And now, I know you truffle hogs are going to come at me and say, there's a lot more to it, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of feel and a lot of energy to it, but that's not what I'm talking about. Like, ultimately, we're finding mushrooms under the ground. It's not that complicated. And so that gets a 4. My next one, reward. And I'm curious, I'm going to throw this one to you again. What do you think I rated in the category of reward for future truffle hunting with one of my dumb dogs?
I would say that's like an 8 because that's high monetary value and also truffles are delicious.
Yeah, I took it one farther. Totally agree with you. You're finding fucking treasure. And you're finding treasure that not everyone else can find because it's under the ground. I'm not like some basic mushroom hunter that you can see them. I need a whole nother animal to find smells for me. And so easy 10. Last category, frustration. I anticipate it's going to be miserable teaching this dumb dog. I can tell you how it works. I gave that a 10. My overall, 6. It seems like fun. I think I'm going to do it. I have to buy a bottle of oil from someone in Seattle, which is actually pretty lucky because there's only a couple companies that does it. And I'm going to do it.
So you're going to this is actually going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. That's really interesting because I could potentially benefit from this, which might affect my ranking.
Now tell me, of the 2 Oregon truffles that are pervasive in both Oregon and Washington, and I'm guessing Canada, what is your favorite?
I have no idea. The kind that they put on popcorn. Actually, no, on fries. The kind they put on French fries, is that black truffle?
I'm so glad you brought that up because what you're actually talking about is in 99% of the scenarios a synthetic that is called 2,4-diethiopentane. So that's actually European white truffle. It's not I don't know if it's an organic compound because I didn't take chemistry, but it's the same compound. Like if you put it in a spectrometer, that's a chemical that you pay for. Don't buy any of that stuff. The truffles that we have, especially the black summer truffles, they are nutty and very delicate, and you get a lot of aroma. You don't get necessarily a lot of taste, and they have a lot of volatile compounds that as soon as they're exposed to oxygen, break down quickly. And so it's not something you can really create an oil and things for. So I'm pretty excited about going after the dark ones, and they're also around when it's nice out, which is the other thing. So now you know more about truffles.
All right. I mean, I'm kind of like nutty and fragile, so I get that.
Do you want to hear about how truffles impacted 3 of the most important things in history? Events in history.
Yeah, I can't guarantee they're all going to make the cut, but let's go for it.
The first one was JFK's assassination.
Okay, that's yeah.
The second shooter on the hill actually shot him with a truffle. It caused a giant hole in the head, and the truffle debris, because the compounds are so volatile, you couldn't smell anything. It was just brain matter, and so it's almost like shooting an icicle at someone. The perfect crime.
Do you ever read Deception Point by Dan Brown? Because he has a gun that turns ice into bullets and that they shoot people with and it disappears.
That was the cool. Yeah, every kid, or at least every at 6 years old, was like, yeah, give me an ice gun, perfect murder. At least I was thinking that.
I don't think I thought about ice murder until
Yeah,
like
me either.
Agatha Christie.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so I had questions,
Mhm.
but I had another one and then I forgot about it because ADHD. So truffle hunting with a dog. Is the dog on a leash when it's truffle hunting?
Generally, no.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So how does that pair with Sully's danger?
It is probably the thing that gave me the 10 for the TBD frustration. He's actually, because he's a cattle dog, he's very clingy, but he doesn't have recall. And so he will only go so far on his own because of his terrified, anxious nature. But that does mean when it's really, say, a bike comes by, I can't recall him. He's chasing that bike and trying to bite the tire for some amount of time.
That's a pretty high danger level for these. And like hunting truffles is dangerous because I've seen Nicolas Cage movies about it, and like shit happens in the truffle hunting community.
I
Have you
think
never
he was.
seen Pig?
No.
You should watch Pig. Pig is awesome.
It's,
Like,
is it.
unironically, 10 out of 10 movie. Pig is fucking incredible.
Can I push
It
you
is
back-
about
can
a
I push you
truffle
to
hunter. What?
A 9? Can I push you to a 9 out of 10 on that movie? Just so we don't get too many 10s.
So I actually went through my personal scale. I have a scale for movies because
Okay.
I review movies on my website, and like a perfect score, which is a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10, is I would sit down and watch this again right now. Like I would do a U-turn in the theater to go see it again. Very few movies have done that to me.
I don't have a 10 for movies, I'll tell you that.
Recently, I've had 2 10s in the past year. One was Beetlejuice, which I did turn around and I went to go see it again the very next day. That movie, like, it's not 10 out of 10 for everybody. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. 100%.
No, for sure. I'm not gonna push back.
I love that
Very
film.
personal. Yeah. Beetlejuice is a hot take. I've never had someone push remotely hard that, like, yes, we needed this. This was needed.
Like, I'll go so far as to say it's almost better than the original. And that original one, like, defined who I am as a writer, defined so much
Really?
about me. Beetlejuice is perfect. Okay, so high danger. Getting back to truffles, that's gonna lower my ranking. Second, can you make chocolate truffles out of truffles?
Yeah.
I mean, can you though? Is that like when they say truffle chocolate, is that because it has truffles in it, or is that something different?
It's something different, but you could definitely put truffle in it.
It's gonna lower my ranking a little bit too.
Look, I appreciate the perspective. I think it is a little unfair that I'm being penalized because my dog's not finding chocolate in the earth, but I'll hand it back off to you.
I can't help the way the ranking system works.
We're being very collaborative.
Okay, so let's say that we're all truffle hunting.
Mhm.
We're out together, you, me, him.
Mhm.
It starts snowing. It's snowing really hard, and we get trapped, and we're trapped in this snowstorm. How does his truffle hunting ability help us in the snowstorm?
This is a storm in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first time you've thought about it?
Yeah, I don't think about snowstorms that often, so it just sort of popped into my head with this because, woods.
Is it okay if I paint the scenario a bit such that it helps me get to a number? Okay, so let's say you are stuck in a snowstorm. I'm going to put you in a vehicle in a ravine again, and remote driving in the winter. So
out of candy, out of snacks.
Yeah, let's say 6'2", let's say 170 pounds. We've already
That's pretty good, man. You're pretty fucking close.
Yeah, I know. We've already established that you're diseased in some way or another. We can't get into it on the podcast, but so you're not starting with like 10 out of a 10 constitution or whatever. So, and you've already fell down a ravine. The car's rolled a number of times, right? All right. So this is my thought. I did confirm, as you asked us a number of times last time, that truffles often do grow underneath the cover of snow. It helps insulate them. And so truffles could be available if you are driving in remote Cascadia region, which would make sense for you. I'm going to say that, yeah, there's probably going to be white winter truffles. Each truffle, let's say it's 28 grams that you would find, which is a relatively small to medium truffle. 200 calories about. Given your petite figure going into the crash, the trauma of the crash, the low caloric density of the truffles, I believe there's some metals and things. So this is good for you. I think you could make it another 30 days if you found a truffle a day.
All right. Okay. Solid answer. My ranking, and I'm fine averaging R2, is a 5. And the reason I'm one lower than you is the danger. That danger terrifies me to my core. And I don't think truffles are worth it. So 5.
Okay. I'm going to push back. I'm open to the 5. For me, it's another Another Tuesday, motherfucker. Are you kidding me? The amount of stress for an hour-long walk today with these dogs in public. So
That's
no,
true.
it's a 6 for me because I'm used to it, but I appreciate for you that's terrifying. And so
I
I'm
think we
taking a
should meet in the
5.
middle. I think we should meet in the
Five,
middle
five?
at a 5.5.
Do we have a 5-5? Because if we do, then it triggers our.
Nope, we don't. We don't
Okay.
have a 5.5. So
We have our first 5-5.
5.5. Truffle hunting with Fitz. No,
Sully.
Sully. 5.5. Okay. And for
We did it.
notes, I'm going to put too much danger, but also delicious and helps in a snowstorm. And I'll share these online for anybody who wants to take a peek at our ranking system later. It's beautiful. That brings us to our last item.
Yeah, I think it's yours.
It is mine.
Heck yeah.
And I am confident I might have found our top for now. For now. This is a scale topper for me.
Okay.
I'm just going to bring up a picture again.
Yeah.
So this is the cherry blossom in my backyard. My item is a beautiful sunny day in Seattle during springtime. Today was a beautiful sunny day in springtime, and here's why. I think I'm going to tell you right off the bat. This item's a 10 for me. 1, springtime comes right after the long dark, so the sun just hits different. You know, like maybe a couple weekends ago, I did a little psilocybin walk in this sun, and it changed me, and like really like made me appreciate the smell of all the flowers, the warmth of the sun for the first time in like 5 months. And the sun's not strong enough that you're going to get sunburned. Like you can be out there for a bit. That's a big problem for me. Like my dermatologist gets mad at me whenever I expose myself to the sun or expose myself, period.
Well, in the last perineum picture you sent me, there's no coloring of that guy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like everything needs to remain like ultra pale on his body or it turns into cancer is basically what I've been told. But like just walking around in this beautiful summer day, smelling the flowers, seeing everything bloom, like watching the clouds roll in for the rain tomorrow was beautiful. And it was peaceful. It did wonders for my mental health. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's it. I think it deserves a 10.
Okay. Gentle pushback.
Gentle pushback.
Or maybe just an inquiry. How do you actually no, maybe this is just I want to know more about you. How do you know as an Ashton Macaulay, which is how we say your last name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sweet. I said it right at the wedding. As an Ashton Macaulay, how do you know when it's time for sun? Like it has been too long without the gentle stroke of Lady Sun in Seattle.
It's an interesting thing, and I think I've just argued myself out of a 10 as I think about this because I forgot my other point. But so how I know it's time for sun, I think it's just like I hate mentioning Superman because he's the most boring fucking superhero on the planet. But like
I think Superman's cool. I'll say it. I think Zack Snyder's cool.
He's so vanilla and white bread. I hope James Gunn does something interesting with him. But Superman recharges from the sun, right?
And there's hope.
There's a feeling that when you walk outside and you do feel like it's starting to charge the battery a bit, that's how I know. But sunlight in Seattle does also put pressure on me to do things which I do not like. Rain has no expectation. I can sit inside and play video games all day and not feel guilty because it's raining outside. When it's sunny, if I'm not going outside, I feel guilty, and I don't like that. So I'm going to give it a 9, actually.
So my perspective is I want to push you back. My goal is to push you back up to a 10. My favorite holiday, daylight savings time.
Which one?
The fucking
spring forward or fall back?
Spring forward, you idiot.
Ugh.
What are you talking about?
You're a monster. Spring forward is your favorite of the two? Wake up an hour earlier?
Your baby ass brain can't handle a small change in timing to get another hour of light for 8 months?
It wrecked me for a week.
Okay, I'm just okay. I actually like that the sun pushes me to do things. I think that's helpful, and then I feel good when I do it, which is a me thing. And so I'm coming at you at a 10. I think you were right. I appreciate how you backed it down a little bit. If we don't have a 9.5, I'd take that. But yeah, best thing in the world. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, and you are right. I do feel better when I do the things that the sun forces me to do. But the pressure's still there, so I'm going to put it at a 9.5. I don't think we found the top of the scale, but I think it's close.
You're a coward. I love you for it, but you're a fucking coward right now.
I'm calling it a 9.5.
Okay, no, that's the rules that we made up as we go.
Yeah, is that we average when we can't agree, and I think a 9. Well, I'm putting it at a 9.5, and you're putting it at a 10. So technically, this is actually 9.75.
You do not have the power to put anything at 9.5, my friend. We are at a hard pass between 10 and 9, and the rule of the game is if we don't have a 9.5, then we do a 9.5.
Okay, all right. We'll do a 9.5.
All right,
9.5
yeah.
for spring, sunny day in Seattle. And for notes, I'm gonna put pressure, but beautiful pressure,
Beautiful pressure.
like a lover that is gentle but firm, and also it's the sun. Cool.
A full tummy in the morning before your first cup of coffee.
First cup of coffee in the morning, that's my perfect 10 right there. On an empty stomach, too. I take that first cup of coffee in the morning raw, and then I shit like lightning. It's beautiful. And
So
then
now,
I eat.
like the other situation where we were rating the Nintendo Switch, we're rating your hard, fast shits, which we should probably save.
No, the coffee, too. Like, coffee, look, we'll talk about coffee at some point.
Another time, yeah.
So, the last thing we got to do is your favorite part of this activity. We got to break out the cross. Let me share my screen. All right, here we go. So up top, our top rating was a sunny spring day in Seattle. Our next lowest was...
Wait a second. I thought the scales we were doing was top, bottom, one person's, left, right, one person's. Or
no,
are you doing
it's clockwise based on ranking.
Okay.
Which means
it's fine. It's fine. Keep going.
First ass beating is going to go here. I want you to know I set this precedent last time. So then we have Frank the Potato. So we'll just put Frank, and I'll cut around this to make this faster. I meant to save this last time, but my computer crashed, so I had to recreate it on the fly. Okay, and then last we have Truffles with Sully. Not Sully Sullenberger.
Sully Sullivan.
So I'm blue, you are red. Would you like to go first this time?
Wait, so is below X actually negative? Like those are both, like I'm less of those things. I'm less of a first ass beating. I'm less of a Truffles with Sully.
So down in this corner is you're a potato and an ass beating. Over here is you are a potato and dog Truffles. You know, it's like that.
Oh shit. That was actually very illuminating. Yeah, I'm between a first ass beating and Frank. Closer to Frank than first ass beating, and put me
like more towards Frank than Sunny Spring Day.
Hate the system. Go right a little bit more. Right there.
So you're like pretty firmly in the first ass beating potato rank.
Well, and then also on the sunny first day quadrant, or
no, you're not. You're far away from Sunny Spring Day in Seattle.
Oh, you're right. I didn't mean, I was a little bit too dramatic.
That's why it's hard, because you have to choose between potato and Sunny Spring Day. And so
I'm not choosing my favorite. Am I choosing my favorite thing?
You're choosing what you think you are.
What I am is I think I'm in between a potato named Frank and an ass beating.
Yeah, I think I'm more potato than I am Spring Day, as much as I'd like to say the other way, and I like potatoes, so that makes sense. This is too scary over here, so I think I'm honestly going to put myself way to the right here at first ass beating and like a little bit higher than you on the potato scale, but I think this feels right to me. So the last thing we need to do for today is pick a theme for next week, and we had sort of talked about a couple of options. So one is random, and I haven't built the wheel yet because I'm lazy, but I could throw them all into ChatGPT and have it pick one. I also want you to know that I'm adding 2 things to this list, and these are based on something that happened to me last night. So one is things I found in my nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one is things I dreamed about.
Why don't we do the second one, because I can include both types of dreams.
So yeah, would you like to just pick one?
So
I'm adding them to our list, and I'm saying I could put our list into the...
let's do dreams next time, and it can include bad dreams, good dreams. I think that's good.
Okay, things I dreamed about is our topic for next week. Oh, this is going to be fun. I have one really good one right off the bat that I'm excited about.
Both of mine are I Dream of Genie, the Different Husbands. Cut that. That's not even a joke for my age range. What am I?
Yeah, you're just like
cut
really
it,
like
fucking
you're
cut it, cut
swinging
it, cut it.
low at a high fastball.
Oh, man,
and that's sports.
Sometimes, yeah, I got Frank in me. I got Frank energy.
We got to figure out a sign off for this podcast, or maybe it just sort of ends.
I like the aspirations or the
words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation, yeah.
Okay, well, let's do some words of affirmation, and then it'll just sort of end naturally.
Hold on, I got mine. I like to sneak it in before, like in therapy, if they ask you something, I like to get the first one so the other person can't use it. Mine is, I'm very appreciative not appreciative is the wrong word, but I'm excited that just getting to hang out with such a cool guy like me made your day better for an hour. And I think it's cool that you shared that with me. So thank you.
I am appreciative that I got to learn the value of ass beatings and that you brought your A game with your items today, because I don't think I would have rated an ass beating high until I really thought about it and realized like how formative ass beatings were in my early life.
Have you not done that yet?
No, well, I mean, like, kind of.
Kind of.
Like, I've been beat up 4 times, and
Okay.
every time it's been my fault. And I think that that's important. While I don't advocate for anybody getting beat up, like I'm not like a boomer saying like, you got to get your ass kicked in order to like have a childhood. It was very important to me to get taken down a few pegs. And I think everybody deserves to get kicked in the nuts by life, at least a little bit. Because when you're not, that's when your privilege takes over and you become an asshole.
The only thing I'd say is that unless you work food or retail for a certain amount of time, then I think you're okay. You don't need an ass beating. You've learned enough.
Yeah. Working food or retail or customer service, like that counts as your ass beating. That's it for today. I learned something. I hope you did too. And if you did learn something, subscribe and like this show and support us by doing that and sharing it with other people, and that will help us do good.
Please don't tell if we're fives. Like don't.
Hey, buy my books. Go pre-order my new book. Do that.
Yeah, let's market something.
Yeah, look, my new book is called One Night at Canassie. It comes out on September 23rd with a real publisher this time. Like, go buy that. It's $16 and I'll rate it at a 10.
And if I'll give it a hard 8. If you all want to help spread the word like I do for Mr. Macaulay here, buy the book, buy 2 or 3 of them, get on airplanes, take Xanax, leave the book on the airplane for the next person. I have left 4 to 5 of Ashton's books on the airplane with the aspiration of reading when I wasn't going to. I was going to watch Perfect Strangers. So
legitimately, I think one of my books made it to Australia that way because I developed like a weirdly solid following in Australia for one of my books. One of those people did turn out to be QAnon, famously, but the rest of them were pretty cool. So, okay, all right, for the bonus content.
I'll tell you the only other time that I was physically disrespected, and this is one that I don't know if there was a really good lesson, but I think about it. We were shitty teenagers. We were probably like 17, 18. It was like a Friday night. We were bored. I had the minivan, of course. So I took my girlfriend and my friend, Michael K. And we went to a movie or something and then ended up near a hotel, like a crappy hotel. And like, this is just urban sprawl. And for some reason, I jumped out. They were driving slowly, and I jumped out of the minivan like an action film while they were like driving. And I thought it looked really cool. And I grabbed a glass bottle from this shitty that was just sitting on the ground, and I hucked it. And it ended up breaking near a car that had like 3 old hillbillies near it. And they saw me and they said, "Hey, come over here." And you know what I did?
Did you go over there?
I fucking went over there. And you know what happened when I went over there?
Did they beat your ass?
One slapped me in the face and said, "Don't do that again," and go away. And then I walked away to the van.
That's amazing.
Ugh, I hated
hillbilly
that.
justice, man, at its peak.
Man, tell me about one of your other fights.
Okay, I was not very good at basketball as a kid, and I was at a
so
Catholic
lanky, though.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like just awful at sports, all of them, and I was at a Catholic school. I was already not well liked because I was an atheist, am an atheist, like was very vocal about it, like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like was not a chill atheist.
You had no social skills. I appreciate this. Yeah.
When you're 14, you're just edgy as fuck. Was playing basketball, and there's this kid. His name was Kevin, and I used to twiddle my fingers in people's faces when I was guarding them in basketball.
On purpose?
Because it annoyed people. And it actually like worked better because I couldn't block shots, but I could annoy the shit out of people, made it harder for them to play. Kevin did not like this.
Yeah, no shit.
Kevin grabbed me by the shirt, shoved me onto the court, and the game was proceeding. I got up, rip shit pissed. I grabbed the back of Kevin's shirt, and then that is like the last thing I remember. Because Kevin was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and Kevin spun around and knocked me the fuck out in one punch and concussed me and sent me to the hospital.
Is this your karate origin story?
Yes, Taekwondo, but yes, like this is my Karate Kid moment. So he got me right under the cheek and drove the bone like up towards my brain and like knocked me out paralyzed half my face for a week. And I kind of came to as the PE teacher was dragging me bloody across the gym floor. And here's the craziest thing. So there are security cameras in the gyms in high school because I was going to high school in a post-Columbine era.
You're young, yeah.
Yeah. And they said the security cameras could not determine what happened. And
they weren't
notably,
working.
I didn't land a punch because this was a one-punch fight.
Yeah.
Kevin had scarred knuckles. We both got Saturday school and suspended.
That's it?
Yeah, and that was it. Kevin did end up paying for my medical bills.
Attempted murder.
Like, yeah, so when you are a black belt, it is assault with a deadly weapon. I was asked if I wanted to press charges, and I said no, because I'm not an asshole.
Is it too late? Because I fucking hate Dax Shepard.
This is Kevin.
Sorry.
Dex, we were in middle school. But anyways, Kevin and I eventually hashed it out. We're cool.
Mm.
But I did start taking Taekwondo because I think I actually started Taekwondo because of Dex, and I picked it back up because of Kevin, and then I got a black belt in Taekwondo back in the day.
Those two boys were very formative on you.
Kevin one, I deserved a lot less. Like, I get I was being annoying. Did not deserve to go to the hospital for that.
No. Like, grabbing someone's jersey, you like to turn around and fucking.
They have already thrown you to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, but he was probably having a bad day or something. But either way, like, it did teach me to not do that when playing basketball anymore. I learned.
I have the primer for a story for next time. I think I told you a little bit of this one. I played one basketball game at the Pentagon when I was doing an internship there, and Donald Rumsfeld pretty much teabagged me.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and that's where we'll call it.
Heard that story.
Yeah. Nope. Well, it's security implications.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild. Well, that's now we're through the post-show bonus content, and I'm just gonna stare at the camera until it suddenly fades to black.
I hope this was worth $4 a month.